Alright, let's have a look at Below Rusted Gods, an awesome horror game by From South Games. They've done a really great job here. Let's have a look. I really love this opening. I love how it starts with the black screen and fades in. Usually a bit of a no-no, but it gives you the opportunity to take in the date at the bottom left, which is quite a nice touch. Really nice visual aesthetic and the audio components tying into this. You can see it's got a very strong theme. It's quite a unique one as well, kind of late 70s Soviet. It's very cool. They've got this. It's a very strong visual overlay going over it, tying into the found footage motif. So there's a bit of a fisheye on the lens. They've got the perpetual camera recording going on. I think it's quite a bold choice. It really distorts your view, but I think it really works given the overall theme and aesthetic that they're going for here. You'll notice I'll go quiet now. Notice the footsteps, how good they sound with the carpet. It's also very sedate walking speed. Normally this speed might frustrate players, but it's got quite a good sprint as well. Quite a bit of head bopping, so it does feel like you're actually moving fast compared to the relative slow speed of the player. It's got a very nice interaction mechanic. So you'll notice there's no cursor, there's no HUD for interaction until I get close to something I can interact, and then you get a very tiny little white dot, and then when you're over the actual thing you can interact with, and you're in range, it goes to the full circle. And you can use E. It's very smooth. Zoom in. It's really nice. It just feels good. There's a lot of polish here in terms of the speed and the angles at which these things move. I would like a little bit more control over the rotation. I found this with past games that if you can get yourself into a muddle like this, and there's no, not that I could find anyway, there's no keys to rotate around the axis that would let me face it upright. So I have to do a bit of a fuddle. So I would like to see some extra rotational controls, but it's not a big deal because you can just cancel and bring it back again. So a little bit of foreshadowing. I think these are the four people that you are trying to look after as they go on their little expedition. So that's quite nice. There's a bunch of stuff you can interact with, all very optional, so you can choose to have a look at these things or not. You can just go straight into the gameplay if you'd like to. That's a really nice touch as well. So it's all there. There's no heavy-handed tutorialization. I don't think you really need to in a game like this. So lots of good stuff so far. The everything that you'd expect to be able to interact with, you can. So like this door, for example, if you want to try and go through that, you can't. Same again with that door. We'll get through those later on. And there's only one way to go, which is through here. Now look at this scene. Just look at the lighting. It's so nice. They've done something I really love to do is just have one single bold piece of light coming through a piece of geometry that's going to break it up. So you've got what would otherwise be quite a plain corridor is actually coming through with these vertical lit up bars, which make the scene. It adds visual interest, but also it helps to break up the path, and it's all focusing on the main console ahead of us. So again, this is a layer of polish that I think really helps with games like this. It sets up the atmosphere. It shows you've got this really dark, foreboding place, and you know that's where you have to go towards. So that's a very slow build of tension. We're at a we're not even at low simmering levels of tension now, but it's building it up. We've turned the gas hob on, and it also helps guide you so you know exactly where you're going. And listen to the audio here as well if you decide to have a peek through. So you can just about make out you've got this ambient noise if you decide to look through. It's very foreboding. You're wondering what is going on? Why am I in a corridor, presumably underground, with some prison-like blocks of concrete blocking off a tunnel entrance? What what has happened here? Who's dug this tunnel? Why does it lead here to a place where there's clearly no way to get through? Like, this isn't a door or a gate. These are solid blocks of concrete. So building up the mystery, building up the tension, really nice. And then we step into our control room. And this is a really genius piece of tutorialization. This room is full of things that you can otherwise interact with and look at. But now if you step through the door and the lights were all on, it'd be really overwhelming. Like, even if it's pretty obvious that the first thing you should do is walk towards the center console, you're still going to be pretty overwhelmed with lots of different things to look at and touch, and you might get distracted and start walking over to them and looking at them, and then get completely lost, and then you might have to rely on UI overlays to guide the player and tell them, hey, come over here, stand in this circle, press this button. But no, all they've done is they've turned the lights off. They've got this one single spotlight on the console that you need to interact with. There's some pieces of visual interest here. You can pick up the clipboard, that's fine. It's got some additional instructions there, but really the main thing that is pulling your attention is this console with the lit up button that you need to press. And the main piece of animation is this incoming call. Universally understood piece of direction, so we can listen to that now. Now, this is the only thing that the only piece of polish that I found lacking pretty much throughout the whole tutorial is the bit of text at the bottom. It's fine, it looks okay, but I think they could probably do with a different font. It's not really in keeping with the overall aesthetic, and the UI looks a little bit placeholder, but it's totally fine. It's the only thing that stood out. I think that's a real testament to how good and how polished the rest of the demo is. The only other thing I'm not a fan of either is holding down space to progress the text here. So you'll notice that you can't press space, you have to hold it down. That's a nice accessibility feature. I feel like that should be on a toggle rather than on by default. It's a minor thing. It adds another layer of frustration to progressing through dialogue, which is already a feature that can be prone to frustration. So here we go through each member in turn. This is some really nice writing, prepared and at peace with what we will face. The game hasn't told you what they're doing. Like, we don't know. You don't know why you're here, other than presumably you could get the gist. Okay, I'm an operator using this machinery to help guide a team, but help guide them do what? Again, some really slow build up of tension. I really like this. Prepared and at peace with what we will face. So this team knows that they're going into the unknown. They're going into something that's probably going to be quite terrifying and maybe life-threatening. But as the players, we don't know what that is yet. So this is quite nice. I don't think you can do anything other than starting the descent, but just giving the player that agency to tell a team to start a descent. Just the way that it's written there is really nice. And now we see the hole, and the whole room lights up. Now I think this is so clever. So this is the hole that the team have gone into. It's pretty terrifying. Like right now, it's just a hole. It's okay. Like this, it's not too scary. But as the tension builds up in the game, this thing really starts to loom over you. Like it really starts to become quite a scary, ominous presence that is always there. And then just listen to the audio as you go in. Very ominous. And if you are a bit brave and you want to try and push in yourself, it resets you and pushes you back out again in a very strange way. Which is very neat. It's a neat way of doing it. I like that for a demo. I think another idea might be you go in and you could just fall down a hole and die. I think that might be a suitable punishment for someone who decides to do something pretty silly like that. And now the game starts to pick up, so you can see all the different things in the office. There's quite a few pieces of machinery. You can see what I meant by maybe this starts to become a bit daunting if you just walk in and at first blush. So you just come in, look at all. If everything was lit from the start, there's so much going on. You lose the reveal of the whole for a start. You're not sure where the focus should be. So just that single spotlight and piece of scripting has really helped us get off to a strong start here. Alright, so they're going to continue on their journey. There aren't actually characters in there moving around interacting with logic. I think it's all just scripted, so it's just waiting for us to hit triggers basically. You'll notice you'll start to hear the radar here as well, which is quite nice. So I think you hear it from over here. No, you'd have to get a little bit closer. But as you do get closer to these different pieces of equipment, you start hearing the little sounds they make, which helps a lot with the atmospherics. So you can see your squad. I think this only comes up once really in the tutorial, but it's very appealing. It's very ominous. You know what's going to happen. You know there's going to be some little red dots appearing on here, which is going to be a little bit terrifying, which is really good. We've got some pieces of equipment here. There's old school video equipment that the team can set up. A bit of static if you get close to it. That adds so much to the atmospherics, just having a little sound bubble around the different items in the environment, and then bringing it up when you get close. Okay. One thing I did find is that the call, it does feel a little bit background. Now I'm in two minds here, because yes, you don't want it to be too obnoxious and glaring. Like I might want to be having a look around, interacting with things, and I don't want a very insistent noise dragging my attention and telling me, no, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be over here doing this instead. But at the same time, on my first playthrough, I did find myself wandering around a little bit, wondering what to do, and it wasn't until I came back to the console that I realised, oh, there's an incoming call. So I don't know, maybe make that flashing light a little bit more obvious. Maybe there could be a larger light on top of the console. Small thing, but I do think people could get lost a little bit here. There's a tiny bug where the camera resets when you interact with this thing, which is not a big deal. So the team just progress, and you just check in with them at the start. The game just has has a little down tempo moment, just lets you have a look around and poke the buttons and get used to some things. You can come around here and see You can fetch the medical data of the different people, which is quite nice. I'm not sure why they put it behind the station. Could be quite easy to miss. But it does put you closer to the hole, so that's quite nice. And you can see they're normal. You get some stats as well. It's very cool. There's another call coming through. This is the one downside to not showing the little interact cursor at all times. It can be a bit tricky to know where's the center of my screen, so it can take a little moment to actually interact with what you want. Okay, so we've just had our first little increase in tempo, increase in tension. What was that? what made a noise? I didn't actually find what made the noise the first time I played through, so let's see if I can find it now. Maybe the folder's spilled, I'm not sure. I think for the first few little moments of tension building, I think that's totally fine if you don't know what made the noise and what actually happened. It's even more spooky because you're unsure what actually happened here, what went on. It sounded like a chair moving, but I'm not sure. So that's the first suggestion, that it's not just the team down in the hole that are in trouble, it's also you. You're also going to have to deal with something here. And this is a nice counterbalance to the tension. So you've just noticed an anomaly yourself in terms of a chair or something has moved behind you, but your team is saying everything's fine, we didn't find any anomalies. So this is our first piece of gameplay. The medical officer wants us to check Dimitri's blood oxygen readings, so we can go over there and do that now. So we've got Dimitri, print off a new read. It's quite nice, it takes a little while. Nice effects on the screen. So they wanted the blood oxygen levels 99 point something %. So we can come back again. We can switch them straight away. So it's just, there's no inputting, you just choose, so they've reused the dialogue feature for the gameplay, which is totally fine. Okay, all good. So now the team are starting to come across some elements of danger or difficulty with the fog. So the tension on their end is building up. And this is what horror fans are waiting for. This is the moment where things start to go wrong. So we've got this call message coming through from the commander. He's not sure what's going on. And this is where we get a little bit more gameplay. So you can ask him, don't open it, let me have a look. You can come over here and have a look. So this is the video feed from the team. This is the first and pretty much only time I think we see through what the team are actually doing. And you can see this is obviously a pretty strong juxtaposition to what we are supposing the cave is. You look at the cave, it's very dark, it's very natural, and they've clearly come across some sort of ancient Greek or Roman temple here. just from a indie developer perspective, this is such a strong use of assets because they've basically got the door frame, a pillar, and a statue, and they've managed to turn it into something really ominous and strange because this obviously should not be down in that tunnel, although you're not even sure what that tunnel is exactly. So just really fantastic use of art. And in terms of gameplay, I don't think there's anything you can do really. Like you can't analyze this. You just have to decide, should I send my team through the door or not? But there's nothing to suggest there's somewhere else that they could go. So I think the only thing you can do is to send them through, which feels a tiny bit of a shame. I mean, I know ultimately it's a single narrative. Like you have to put the players through the story, but it would be nice. Like this, I guess what I'm trying to say is this: it feels like there's so much equipment here to analyze and make decisions and help your team make those decisions. That's what the game is setting you up to do as a player, to analyze things and make decisions. But then there's only one decision, which is to go through the door, which I think is a little bit strange. So I know it's a demo, but it'd be really nice if you could decide to not do that. I guess we can try. We can say do not open it, but I think it's pretty much the same. Nothing really happens. You have to send them through the door. But I hope in the main game there's a bit more branching narrative. Okay, so they're going to open the door. The door opened. Okay. That really cool eerie sound. It's wicked. There's clearly something in there. Terrifying sound. Really nice bit of audio design. As the door opens, you don't see the team go through. That's fine. Now, I'm not sure if there's an additional effect over the hole now, or if it's just my computer. But I think they build up the fog now, which is awesome. So I think when you open the door, this fog comes out, which is really powerful. So you've done something with a team that it doesn't even exist. Like they're a pretend team at this point, but you've increased the tension in your area as well. So this hole really helps to ground and connect you to the horror. And being stood here, you feel incredibly vulnerable because you've got this terrifying opening that animates, and now you have a direct connection to between the team and you, and also directly behind you something's going on. Some mystery horror is happening right there, so you never feel safe. Where should I be looking for the horror? Is it that way? Is it that way? And that's very cleverly foreshadowing the ending to the demo as well, which we'll see later. Alright, so now I think we get the audio component to this. And oh, what's happened? The statue's moved. So I think we need to be using the this device now. So you can flick this to frequency 5, I think. You start to hear some spooky stuff. So again, super clever. You can see that the statue's moved, it's got the blood decal on it, its bowl is filled up with blood, presumably the shadow is projected over the entrance, and you can hear this creepy dripping stuff. It's probably water, but maybe it's blood. skipped ahead here because I've played the game already. Alright, so more creepiness. So a door has opened. I think we have to now go and check that out. I think that's how you progress the game. So, what door is opened? Something over here. Yep, so the bathroom's open now, so we can go in. Someone crying.
Look down.
We get a tape. So this is how we get the little bits of narrative progression in the game, through some little tapes. And yeah, let's go read that now then. Oh yeah, and check out the footsteps here. Nice little bit of ambience building up there. There's a knock, I think. Is that here? Oh jeez. Oh jeez. I'm not even sure what that was. I don't think I got that on my first playthrough. It's good though. It scared me, clearly. It's all audio as well. Did anything change? Don't know. It's very good with the audio, building up the tension. Just always keeps you on edge. Definitely not random sounds. Classic. Blame. Classic picture falling down. So you can listen to the tapes by putting them in here. This is the I think this is the only thing I didn't like about the demo. So it's good. It's fine to communicate the narrative like this. It just for me it just goes on a bit too long. I'd say most horror fans have come across something like this before. And you can't really skip it either. Now it is very effective. There's some screaming which is absolutely terrifying. Again, really pitch perfect audio balancing and editing. But, it's just this dialogue. It just goes on and on a bit too long. And it's counterposed with the sort of insisting piece of gameplay here. Like I know I should be clicking on this thing, but I have to wait for the audio to finish. So all I do is I trim a few lines of dialogue here. Because I really felt absorbed and pulled into the horror. It was building up and building up and building up, and then it's fine to balance it with a moment of just being able to breathe. But this is just a bit boring. Maybe if there was something to do while this is going on. I think this is the good bit now. Absolutely terrifying. Just really good. And then she continues talking as totally normally. Perfect exposition. Just really so good. Yeah. So, like I said, great stuff, but just a bit overly long, and now I'm thrown back in, and I just feel like It's just a bit too long, and now I need to get back into it again. Alright. And a bit of down tempo again now, so just a bit of pacing that could be tightened up. But it is a very small note in what is otherwise a just almost perfect horror demo. Oh, these are cool as well, the cameras. So they track you and make a noise while they're tracking you. So you are being watched. It's building up the story. It's quite nice. Now this bit of storytelling, always good. The environmental storytelling, always love to see this. Here we go. Opening the door was a mistake. So again, you can't really choose. The team are progressing. The story is moving forwards. There's no choice to be made here. And that's lovely as well. Look at this. There's blood dripping from the ceiling onto your next tape. Quite difficult to pick up. Tiny note. So you get some more story.
Me straszno. Posula oczyn, napungawezi nokciu. Sarasi krokati. Seresen zbolic. Jumenia racne vospursinisha. Mena bosikis cała i nevenezio salfra. Shachuk shakidi so mi mais. Shadenats chov. Shaka boss sakatagan nashichu.
What I do like about this is how it's building up what we're about to see. So the concept of basically some experiment or something having been done to this woman. So you get obviously you get to hear her voice over these tapes, and you hear the woman sobbing in the toilet. Very classic, like ghost-like stuff. So it's not a total surprise. It doesn't completely come out of the blue when you do eventually see her or whatever she is. That steady build-up just helps put together a much more cohesive package. Surprise, it's a horror monster.
More vi seen rush of that board.
Again, a bit long though. Maybe there's something I could be doing. I'm glad they don't play the scream full blast the second time around. It would be too much. It just cuts off a little bit. Just enough to put your hairs on edge. So this is the tiny bit of gameplay again. So they want to know, should we go left or right? You look on the radar, there's a red ping on the left, so maybe they should go right. I'm going to try sending them the wrong way this time, just to see what happens. Go to the left. this links everything together that we've heard before: the sobbing, the cassette recordings, the blood, the bit of narrative we got in terms of something being wrong with her. Very, very good. And you might have noticed as well that tied in with the lights being cut out here. So we've had a double increase in tension here. We've had the terrifying sequence that we just watched, along with the lights dying here. So we've just lost some light. It's not somewhere we are normally. It's just a corridor, but just that little bit of light loss. It's quite subtle, easily missed, but you feel as a player that you're slowly slipping into darkness. Alright, so I sent these guys the wrong way. They seem totally fine. Maybe they're not totally fine. Listen to this again. No. Okay. Now, spoilers, like it doesn't go well for the team down there, even if you do send them the right way. But I don't know that there's been any consequence to me making the wrong decision here. I think this might be the only part of the demo where it's not explicitly clear how you progress it. But you can see if you explore a little bit, you know what you need to do here. So they've turned off the lighting in the bathroom, so you can see now there's a hole over here that presumably you're supposed to look through. You can have a little look around. Is there any scary monsters? Can't interact with that anymore. So I can have a look through this hole. And you get this cool little environmental storytelling scene, so you can see clearly something messed up going on multiple layers. You've got the creepy poster, very nice touch. Like you shouldn't be poking people's eyes with things. That's horrible. And the psychiatry, the kind of recording device in the middle, and then obviously someone shivering and shaking in the bottom right under what looks like a bunk bed or something similar. So pretty spooky stuff. Lovely jubbly. Alright. Okay, so we come out of there thinking nope. And we'll come back in, check on our team, check mystery hold, see if there's anything going on there. Team seem fine, and now someone's calling again. Okay, so the comms are breaking down. This happens even if you do send them the right way. Now I think it's starting to run. Here you get, oh, so creepy, scary thing coming out of the thing. Run back here, all the lights are off, there's fog, everything's messed up. Now I don't think you can kite him around this thing, because if you run through there, there's another thing that gets you. I just want to see if you can kite him around this desk. He's so creepy though, look at him. You can't kite him around this. Okay. It's really nice. It's so good though. It's such a clever, it's a really nice monster design. He's very creepy. He's got really creepy animations. Absolutely terrifying. If you do run into the bathroom, there's something else that gets you in there. So basically the demo concludes in death, regardless of what you do. I just think this is such a clever demo. It's incredible how they build up the tension, the atmosphere. It's all pitch perfect. The only thing I would have liked to have seen really was a little bit more gameplay. It really heavily suggests that there's a lot of stuff you can do in the control room in terms of checking devices and stats and being able to guide the team, but the demo doesn't really give any indication that any of that is relevant. So I just really hope that gameplay comes through in the final game. But demo does its job in terms of showing you the game's going to be scary. It's going to be very immersive. It's going to be a fantastic experience, regardless of what the gameplay is like. So heavily recommended. Really love it. This is great reference for any horror game developers out there. Do give the game a wish list below Rusted Gods. Check out their sites, and yeah, stay tuned for more analyses.